So early on in my career, I used to partner with a lot of marketing agencies, and they would come to me with a project and the specs that they needed, the functionality that they needed. And I said, yeah, sure, I can. We can do that. That's not a problem. And so we would get quite a bit of the code done. They would give me a budget that they wanted to stay within, and I was able to accommodate that. So we get a lot of the project done, or a lot of it done, and they'd come back and say, you know what, we've actually decided that we want to add this big chunk of functionality to the system, and I would have to, we try and accommodate that. But what would inevitably happen is, because of the budget constraints, we would program this in a way that it would accommodate the budget and the functionality that was needed. And in order for us to go back and put all this new functionality in, and to make it bigger than what it was, we'd have to go back and refactor code in order to make it what's called scalable, or in other words, that it could grow in big quantities, or have the capacity for a larger user base. And after this happened quite a few times, and my company almost went under, I had to sit back and, when people came to me and asked me for a project, I had to sit down and say, okay, what is the end goal here? What is it, 10 years from now, what is it that you want this to accomplish? What is it that you're trying to what's the problem that this is trying to solve, and where do you see this going in 10 years? By beginning with the end in mind, we will program the system in a way from the beginning that when functionality is needed, bigger chunks of functionality, we can easily go back and accommodate that instead of having to refactor everything and start from scratch, essentially, to make it scalable. This is extremely important to understand what the end goal is. And this is something that I see all the time from marketing agencies, and I see this all the time from companies that see a symptom of a problem that they're trying to fix and just want that functionality, but then later on there's another symptom, and they want to add that functionality in, and it gets rather expensive and time consuming to go back and refactor all that code. So as we look at a problem or look at a project, we have to look at what is the end goal. Then we can work backwards to say, okay, we need these particular systems in place to be able to grow. So for example, if you're creating a small social network, a small community, for users to come in and interact with each other. Okay, we can do that, can be done, but you have to look at a lot of different things. Okay, one thing, is it just a forum, or are we looking at ways to integrate e-commerce into this? Are there going to be, and if we do e-commerce, what systems are going to be used? What shipping? What payment processors? Are there going to be other systems involved, such as the ability to create anything custom in the e-commerce? Are there going to be mobile apps that are going to be connected to this? That's going to dictate how we do things in the beginning, so that we can accommodate all those different things that need to be plugged in. I've seen it a lot where people want to use WordPress to accomplish all these different things. And for example, I was working with a marketing agency one time that wanted to do a small social network. So we accommodated this. They said, okay, we have this budget. There's some things in WordPress that could work for this, and they said, let's work with that and see what happens. I said, okay, let's do that. Inevitably, what happened was, they saw the potential and said, okay, let's add on all this different functionality. I want to put in this, a bunch of different things. And what happened? WordPress was not sufficient to be able to do all the things that they wanted to do. So, we tried to accommodate that, but in the end, it didn't work. And, they were a little upset that they had to go back and refactor this. However, had we known from the beginning that this is what they wanted to do, we could have accommodated that and probably stayed within budget in doing that. So when you're working with developers, and not all developers do this. There's some developers that just say, okay, well, here's the specification. This is what I'm going to do. It takes understanding and lots of experience to understand that, to look at the end goals and then be able to work backwards to create an application that will accommodate those end goals and more.